Today we're going to look at these watercolors that I put this gum arabic in. They were all dried, which was okay, but they were cracking up. And some of them were really cracking up into unusable pieces. I had taken them from a tube and squeezed them into these little pans. And I let them set for several months, and when I opened them, some of them are okay, but most of them were cracked up. And if you watched my first video on this yesterday, you'll see where I had visited Gina Ahrens' live chat. There's a link to Gina Ahrens' channel and her Wednesday watercolor live sessions, her playlist, in the description box below. So today what I want to do is, I had put, after my video, I went ahead and put this gum arabic in almost all of these. The only two that I did not feel like I needed them in, and I wonder why, was I have this black. And it came out of the tube very nice. I mean, that is not cracked at all. And, you know, as I feel it with even my hand right now, I do feel like this may have more of a binder in it. It doesn't even feel dry. I mean, it doesn't feel wet and pasty, but it does not have that dry, cracked feel to it as the others did. And I noticed my black was that way. I'm going to put the lid back on this. My black was good. This is a Prussian blue, which is very much a blue-black. And it is not cracked up. And I really do think that these two colors had more binder in them. So I think that this has a little bit to do with, as Gina said, the amount of binder that's put in them when they are manufactured. Now let's look at the ones that I did yesterday. The one that I showed you was this carmine red. I'm just going to hold it up here to the camera. And I did not know how much binder, how much gum arabic to put in this. The other thing that I noticed on it was the transparency that on the back of that Winsor Newton label, it said that it increases the transparency. And I do think that that is a truth, because I can tell as I spread my wipe-off page here with my palette knife just to not waste the color. I can tell that it is a very transparent color, whereas the ones on my color chart, even when I first made this color chart, my impression of them were that they were very much an opaque color. And I think by adding the gum arabic to it, that it's going to make it more of a transparent color, and I do prefer the transparency. I did the others, as you can see in here. Let's take this. This is a yellow ochre, and I have not touched this with my palette knife. I've been leaving it because my temptation is to want to get in there and stir it, but I've been leaving this unstirred because I wanted to show you what it looked like as it's untouched the next day. These others I've been dipping my palette knife in. Let's just draw out a little. So I've got about 1/4 of a pipette in there. I'm going to add some more binder to this. Just a few drops. And of course it'll take longer to dry out that way. But I think it will give it the rest of this clumpiness the chance to soften. And it isn't that I want soft, gooey watercolors. That's not my goal, because I'm going to let these dry out. I want these to not crack when they dry. I want them to be like a pan of watercolors as you would buy in a store. And to be honest with you, I think that from now on, if I can avoid it, I will not buy watercolors, especially the cheaper, the student grade, especially the student grade ones. I like to get my brush in there And I just find it more convenient when I'm doing watercolors to have them in my palette. And that's a personal preference. My preference is to have them in a palette, and I don't feel like I should have to pay for an extra bottle of binder to have them not crack up like that. I don't mind them drying out. You want them to dry, but you don't want them to crack up so that they're loose and jarring around in your little pan, because, well, they can fall out or you could lose them. Or I think from now on, when I buy a student grade package of watercolors, I will buy them already in the pan. See, you can tell it's just got one crack in there. It was not bad. And I did not chunk it up, and that gum arabic is just kind of resting on the top. And I'm just going to let it rest on the top and see after a couple days if it's soaked in. The blue and the green I'm very happy with. This is the cobalt blue. It's smoothed out those cracks. It was not cracked too bad. And this is the Viridian green, the same way. You can hardly see the cracks. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm very happy with this green now. I think this is going to dry and dry smooth like you would expect it in the pan. So, in conclusion, with putting the gum arabic in here, I'm very happy with what's going on. I'm going to leave these for several days. I think it'll take several days for this gum arabic to dry these out smooth.